Good evening, everyone. 7:31. We're going to start the meeting. Welcome to the May 14th, 2025 Pound Ridge Library Board of Trustees meeting. I'm going to take attendance first. If you could indicate that you're here. There's mics on the table when I call your name. Jenna? John?
Here.
Selena?
Hello.
Anne?
Present.
Mike?
Here.
Lexi?
Here.
Okay, so Rich Levan and Bob Bellhouse are not here yet. Okay. Yep. I need a motion to approve the minutes from the April 24th board meeting.
I move we approve the minutes from the April 14th board meeting. Second.
All those in favor? 24th, April 24th. Sorry, thank you.
I still second.
You still second. Thank you. Anyone opposed? Thanks. All right, let's set our date for, oh God, June. It's crazy. Board meeting. Does June 17th work? It's a Tuesday. Everyone okay? Jennifer, does June 17th work? 19th? Yeah, it's, I mean, I think the library is closed on the 19th. You want to do the 24th? What? We usually do Tuesday or Thursday. Today's a Wednesday, so we have changed it. Mondays we don't do because the library is closed. Wednesday the 18th works for me. Jennifer, does the 18th work? Everyone else okay? John? Jenna? Okay. So we will do June 18th. Yep, Wednesday the 18th. At 7:30. Okay, we're going to start with the treasurer's report. Mike?
Nothing new. I handed out copies, and what can I say? That the CD matures at the end of May, and since the balances look kind of at the borderline functional, I'm going to cash out that CD when it matures, and then see how things go over the next couple of months.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for Mike? Okay. And
sorry,
Yep.
Mike, just on your sheet here, the checking saving, that's all Chase, right? And the CD at the top?
Yes.
Then the key bank is just a backup checking?
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of our reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. We have a guest. So Michael from Unsolicited Audio Video is going to share with us his proposal that I think we've already seen, but we haven't had a discussion around it. And we'll be able to ask questions, et cetera. I'm going to give you a mic. As you learn, you have to talk.
Why you're here?
Yeah, I got that. So I assume everybody saw the email with the video clips and maybe had a chance to look at those. And you've probably all been in a conference room before where you've seen the screen at the end and the camera and how the microphone's on the table. It's a little different than this, but yeah, the only difference, I guess, between what you're used to and what I'm proposing is that these tables are not here all the time. So nothing can sit on the table. Everything has to be mounted from above. So Logitech has a kind of all-in-one solution for that. And then there's also the option to contain all of it in a, flat screen that would kind of rest there when you're doing a meeting, and then you can roll it away. So it,
People were sitting like at a high top table. There was a screen at the end
right,
on a
that's the rally
stand.
board. Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be part, yeah, the rally, that's what I'm talking about. Is that whole thing called the rally board?
Yeah, the rally board is meant for a space like this where you
Okay.
don't have permanent seating, not a real conference room.
Mhm.
And the rally bar is sort of the thing that you're probably used to seeing in most conference rooms where it's under a TV and against the wall.
Okay.
That's easier when you can wire everything up to a table. And
So does that eliminate the need for this big screen?
the rally board will eliminate the need for the projector and all of that because it's a screen and camera combined.
Okay,
So
okay, thank you.
Again, just to clarify, he's talking about in terms of our meeting space, but yeah, okay.
and the computer's built into the board, so you can just touch the screen and start the meeting. So you don't need a tap on the wall or anything.
What is the downside?
The downside to the rally board,
Yeah.
the only downside would be finding a place to put it when you're not using it. So if it can't stay in here and have another use like a smart board or any other type of general use, then you might find a, obstacle if it's just in the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So our usual setup here, here's our board meeting. We have a guest. How do we include the guest with a rally board kind of setup?
So I guess if from that angle, you may want to slide the chairs a little bit this way so they could see the board easier, but it's pretty big. I think 65 inches, it would probably fill up the whole end of the table. And I think from this distance is about 15 feet. So you would all be able to be zoomed in on, and the microphones would get you from the screen versus the rally bar, which is it's bolted to the wall, and then the microphones would be kind of above, hanging down from the ceiling.
So that's what I was going to ask about the microphone. So if someone is sitting over there or someone sitting back there, not sitting at the table, would we still be able to hear them from the microphones, like onto our Zoom?
Yeah, so the rally system can put up to 7 mic pods in the space. So you could have one in different areas. I would
Okay,
just recommend if you're going to do that, that you try to set them up in the same place all the time. Otherwise, you'd have to actually move the mics.
right, okay. And I know the proposal is just for conferences. If we were having a different, a presentation at the front of the room to the room, would they then just have a handheld mic like like how would it interact with that, kind of operation?
Right. So the Logitech system that I'm proposing is a Zoom room meant just for Zoom meetings. So this would not interfere with your existing PA system.
Okay.
You could still use these mics and set them up for
Okay.
anything you want. But the goal I thought was to have a self-contained system that other uses and other people that are using the system can't screw up your meetings, because this is just for meetings.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I mean, the room is used for both, right? So ultimately,
but when you want to have a meeting, no one's going to find the gear disrupted from a different use, and because it's just for a Zoom meeting.
yep, exactly. Yep.
We run the Zoom, as you said, and Jennifer runs it tethered to that wall over there. So how might that change as part of what we're doing here?
So the rally board, you just have to plug it in, and it can use Wi-Fi, but it could also be connected via Ethernet. So that's,
So then we would run the Zoom as part of the rally board setup.
yeah, it would all, there would be nobody needed to actually run it.
If someone came in and wanted to present, if we didn't have a projection screen anymore, we had the rally bar, they could stand at at the podium and connect wirelessly from their device.
Yeah, as long as they're joining the Zoom meeting, they can
But it would
Fair-
have to be through Zoom. It wouldn't, if we didn't have any instance, for example, for it to be a hybrid meeting, if it was just a live thing, then they would just use regular microphones and how would they project from their device, or would we connect from our device?
So you're asking if it wasn't a Zoom meeting?
Exactly. So it wouldn't come into this at all.
Um,
This is solely for Zoom.
Well, Zoom or Google Meet or Teams, it's a video conferencing solution.
So in my company, if I'm in a conference room and I'm not going to use Zoom, but I want to project from my laptop onto the screen and I'm just presenting to the people in the room, I'm not dialing into Teams, I'm able to do that in my conference room at work, right? I literally, I actually have to plug in my laptop, but I basically plug it into the device and say, choose laptop 1, and it projects to the screen, and we have a conference about what's on there. Is this solution able to do that if I wanted to have a meeting in the room, but no Teams, no Zoom, no, just project something up there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's what she was trying to ask. Okay.
Are the microphones, they're a permanent installation, like you said they're coming from the ceiling?
Yeah,
So once they're installed, that's where they are?
Right.
Or- Okay.
they would
Okay.
be overhead, but they're everything on the Zoom, the board and also the rally bar, everything is AI driven. So you don't need to worry about muting microphones. It's going to pick up whoever speaks. And the camera also zooms in on whoever is speaking. So
Sort of related to the projection question, what if it was totally offline? Like sometimes we lose internet connectivity here. I mean, that seems like maybe we might not have a meeting in that case, but I'm just wondering if it's like totally local. Will the system, so the system needs to connect to the internet in order to use the AI to detect the voices and zoom in on people, right? Like it needs internet connection.
the microphones all connect via USB.
Okay.
And you would need a Zoom, an Ethernet connection to actually broadcast the meeting. But you should be able to, I think you can use Zoom locally and just, without necessarily going online.
So that's a Zoom question. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
When you say AI, just curious about that. Like, is it regularly, like, what are you using?
Oh,
Is your
so
input-
it's, they call it like right sense technology and right light and right sound. That's their uh, lingo for it. Yeah, but it's just the cameras being able to detect who's moving, who's speaking, and just zooming in on that pretty much. It's not like it connects to an LLM or anything. It's built into the device itself.
But it's not like tracking everything or people are saying and,
Feeding it into.
okay.
Like.
Well, obviously not
complexity,
about
is that what-
LLM. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure it doesn't pose any privacy.
No,
Okay.
there's no connection to OpenAI or Grok or anything like that.
Thanks.
Just to clarify some of the questions, the system that we have isn't going away. So anything that we want to do locally, we can keep that in the closet and just use the projector, so we have a couple of options.
I think we were trying to figure out if we could get rid of the screen for local options and just use the new rally. So get rid of so let's pretend our projector dies in a year. Do I need to replace it, or can I just use the rally bar instead for even in-room meetings is I think what we were trying to figure out.
The rally board, yes.
Yes,
But if you use
that's-
the rally bar, you'll need a screen because
Yeah.
the rally bar is just a camera with the two
Okay.
speakers on it.
Yep, okay.
But the rally board has a camera and speakers built into it and the screen. It's all in one.
Examples of other, because it sounds like it was just launched like basically 2 months ago. Like, have you seen it in action?
No.
Okay, so that's my concern. Okay.
Yeah, that's why it wasn't part of my initial proposal. When I had to revise it, I checked with my distribution sales engineer, and he was like, "Oh, this sounds like a good new solution for the space that you have because this is unique. You don't have permanent chairs or tables, so that's what they're using in that kind of space."
This is all Logitech, right?
Yeah.
So what's your experience with their support, you've been using them for 20 years.
Oh, no, I've been at Terrytown for 24
Oh,
years, but
okay.
Logitech we just got their system a couple of years ago. And I was really surprised. When I researched, they wanted to replace their Owl. So they were just looking for something like that, just a device. But then, so after digging around a bit online for a good solution to replace the Owl, I found the Logitech Rally Bar. And the reports on that were great. And then it turned out that there's a whole ecosystem behind that. So, the Collab OS and then the Sync platform, and I guess they just take over entire buildings and with multiple rooms, like hundreds of rooms, and law firms and corporate offices, and so to keep track of all of that, they have to have like a really big infrastructure for it. So you're only doing one room here, so that's why I figured the Rally board would probably be great for you.
Let's say we go ahead. What's involved with the room and what do you have to do here?
So if we do a Rally bar, it's that camera. So it needs to be affixed to the wall or put onto some sort of platform. So if you had something skinny like a tabletop desk thing that you would mount it on, it would go at the end of the table. And then the mic pods would just be wired all the way around and then dropped from the ceiling. Probably like 4 of them here in the center to capture the table length. And then I had 2 cameras in the proposal because when I put this together initially, there was an L-shaped situation. So there was going to be 1 camera on one side and 1 on the other. And you could start off with the Rally bar and see if that 1 camera gets everybody and you see if you're happy with it. And if you can get away without having the other cameras. If the audience doesn't need to be on camera, then maybe just the Rally bar is enough. So the pricing is about the same because the Rally board, I think, is around 7,500 or so, and then the cart that holds it is about half that cost, so it brings it up to about 11,000, and then the Rally bar is 4,000, and then with the microphones and the 2 cameras, it comes to about 10,000 also, like give or take. It's just the installation that's the big difference. So unboxing the Rally board is pretty easy. It'll take me a day and just get you set up with that. But then the actual, the installation of the mics and then the drilling and of the cameras and stuff, that would be a little bit more.
Much appreciated. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, if you have any further questions, just drop me an email and then I'm happy to check into Logitech and see if they can answer it.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks.
All right. Let's move on to the warrants.
It probably was on there before. I just had a question. The Niche Academy, that's a CME for library staff?
This one is, we have tutorials on the website to help people understand how to use Libby or Hoopla or any of the other things. So they're online tutorials, device specific. I checked and saw we get about 50 hits every month. So if you think it's worth it, it's not like it's dropped off and nobody's using it anymore.
So it's
still
patrons, it's not just library staff.
exactly what it is for. Yeah, it can be
Cool.
used for staff training, but everything's pretty easy these days, but people still seem to use it.
Could you just tell us a little bit about the $3,000 bill for Your Choice electricians?
Your choice. They did the tree hit the light pole in the parking lot and had to be replaced. So that was the 1,500. There were two regular light fixtures out here in the lobby at 400 each. That was 800. And then the switch for the Everbright in the basement in the sensory room was the 750, which came out to the total.
Okay. Any other questions on the warrant?
Just like piggybacking on what Mike, the Niche Academy, that's a monthly charge?
No, that's yearly.
Oh, that's yearly.
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause I was thinking, what of like, if there's a few months where no one uses the service. Oh, okay. Oh, no, that's great. So people can go on that and learn how to use all these, the digital resources we have. Yeah,
Exactly.
Oh, good.
Mhm. Thank you. I think it's helpful. Yeah. Especially when you can't call the library if it's at night or when we're
Yep.
closed. So.
I just text Jennifer. Not everyone can do that.
That's what she-
I know. Okay. Do I have a, yeah, well, I texted her on
So this
one
is-
service and she was like, we don't have that anymore. I'm like, oh, it's still on the website. No wonder I can't access it.
I'll make a motion to approve the warrants in the amount of $39,151.12. Do I have a second? Thanks, John.
Any, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. All right, committee updates. John, anything on finance? Mike, do we want to talk about technology now? What? Oh, sorry. Yeah. So budget planning starts June. Yep. So we're gonna have to start that process again, which is fun. So you'll work with finance committee, work with Jennifer on proposed budget. Okay. I guess the other thing I can raise it now, I told you about because I think it's finance. I think the gift acceptance policy is owned by finance, if I remember correctly. So at the last meeting, we had a request from someone who was considering making a donation and wanted to know if there was a process to add a plaque. And so I think I told you all I was going to go talk to the foundation about whether they were interested in, if we moved forward at all with the walkway, do we do a kind of pay for a brick? And that would be a way for someone to make a donation. I don't think we know what we're doing there. So putting that aside, we started having a conversation about why I raised it. And one of the things that Emily Forbes had stated, which I thought was a really good idea, was at a place that she worked, they had a gift acceptance policy that included a dollar amount that if you made a donation over X dollars, then you got a plaque. So rather than have to answer each person that asks us and changing, deciding in the moment whether we are going to do it or not. I know we've had people who have donated benches and trees and things like that, to have it in the gift acceptance policy, kind of what a standard is. And the other thing she said, which I don't know if we need because we haven't had this happen in a long time, but where she was working, they did, was also have a dollar amount that you would accept an endowment. And so her experience was a lot of people wanted their name on something. So they just said, oh, I'll make $1,000 donation and it's an endowment. And it got challenging to manage the different, in our case, trusts and endowments. And so they had a dollar amount that they wouldn't accept an endowment unless it was over $200,000 or whatever. So I just thought those might be good parameters to add to our gift acceptance policy so that we're consistent in plaques for people, for donations that people make.
I mean, we're not getting a lot of gifts. Right? I mean, I think we just got a
Correct.
$500 gift recently.
Maybe we will if people have a plaque.
But it's
Well-
like a chicken and the egg thing. I mean, my only thing is one, does it limit us? I don't think it's that big a deal to say, if you want a plaque, then give me,
But what's the
give me the
dollar amount?
$20 for the plaque and
No, but
in
that's,
addition.
no, but then where are we putting our 100 plaques, right? So like, I just think you have to, my only suggestion was we have to think about it. If I give you $10, will you let me put a plaque up? Is it
No.
100? Is it 500? Is it 1,000? What is it?
Okay, I mean,
That's all. Like, I just thought we should
I
have a
guess it
dollar.
depends if we have a wall of plaque or what we want. I mean, I can set it at 1,000 and we probably won't get many plaques, right? We can.
Which
we
is
can do
fine.
that.
Which is, I mean, I think the
But,
question
but
is,
if I'm selling bricks and it's up in an area where I'm going to drop a brick, maybe $25, and
Yep.
we can fill a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know that, I feel like putting a policy locks us into something. I don't think this is a common thing that comes up.
right.
I understand we got a request for one for
So
a
we have
plaque.
to answer it, right? Ultimately, we have to answer the question.
Yeah, but
Are
I
we
think
giving
in the
you a
answer
plaque?
probably no.
Well, we don't know what his
but-
donation is.
Okay, well.
That's
then-
why I wanted to set a limit for so that I can say to him, if you make a donation of X dollars, then yes, you will have a plaque.
And I guess in a one-off situation, then the answer is yes. If 10 people came in and it was a $50 thing, now where are we putting all these plaques?
I agree. Totally agree. That's why I wouldn't say yes to $50 personally.
Well,
but-
I guess discretion then helps us hold the line.
and then we're potentially inconsistent, but
Wait.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Jenna.
Struggles with the mic. I was just gonna say that I think it's a hard one because we also have people that might not have money, but can like dedicate a whole lifetime of service to the library and therefore like at some point could be considered for a plaque. When I think of like a lot of the institutions that I go to, it's not always tied to monetary contribution. Like we could have someone who's 90 years old come here every day of their life to help like fill shelves at some point, maybe in their deathbed, they ask for a plaque. Like, I'm just saying, I think, I don't know. I know, like in the nonprofit world, like it's not always tied to monetary. So sorry, that was a dark,
They
but
might
you get
not,
my point.
they
I
might
do
not
s-
even ask. It would just be something that we would do in,
Yeah.
in honor of.
Could be
them.
Right,
case
but
by
you could
case.
still do that even if you have a gift policy that says if you make a donation of over $1,000, you'll get a plaque. You can still give a plaque for any other reason you want.
Oh, okay, then maybe we just add that as a line, like the library.
That's
at its
all I was
discretion. Okay.
Suggesting.
Was-
I don't know what the dollar limit is, though. I just made that up.
So
I have
was
no
it-
idea what it should be.
Was it inappropriate to ask this person what they were thinking, or was that like,
I don't know, but we've got to answer him. Yeah.
when we answer, then that's when it might come up, the
If-
amount?
If they want to give us 50,000, I'll throw them a party.
Yeah, I'm with you. They get a tree. They get
mean,
gifts, they get whatever they want. Sorry. But-
I don't know what recognition, I mean, that he can, if that's a condition, why does it, I think we need to know an amount and we're happy to do something commensurate with, I guess, the donation. It could depend on the board.
Maybe it makes sense to just have a conversation before we do a policy, not knowing the facts. Not a conversation from the standpoint of saying, here is our policy, but just we received your email, wanted to make sure we got back to you in a timely fashion, wanted to understand a little bit more about the context so that we can respond to you with the information that's most appropriate to your situation or what you're proposing, and just do a little fact finding.
We can, then we're going to come back and say, this is the dollar amount. Now does it deserve a plaque? So I don't know. It's like, what
Well,
comes
I
first,
mean,
the chicken or the egg? Whatever.
I think we're going to be back here anyway, because how big a plaque? I want the really big plaque. How much is that? So I don't know, unless we're going to have a plaque wall of donors, which I don't think is a common thing that we have.
Nope.
Then we can standardize it and grid it out, and then we can put whatever limit we want on it, which is fine if we're getting this influx of, plaque-worthy donations. But I just think it limits us. I don't know why then we're creating this obligation to start producing plaques now every time somebody comes up with it. I don't think we need that right now. I think we should keep it specific if we want donations for certain projects and things like bricks and other things. That's something I think is more flexible for us, but I don't think we need to have it immortalized in a policy right now if it comes up this infrequently.
Okay.
But happy to talk with them about
Yeah, I
what
mean,
they want to
we have to
donate.
at least respond to this
And
patron, obviously.
I'll just say we're always open and welcome donations.
Well, that
for the
wasn't the
library.
question though. The question was, I want to make a donation and want a plaque. That was the question. Like the patron combined it with the plaque. We didn't.
Was it specifically plaque or was it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't recall that.
Yeah. We did. It was in last month's. Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. So I think at least from what I'm hearing, will reply to the patron and ask what their donation would be. I find that that's just hard for me. Sorry. It
I
feels
think that
weird to me.
It kind of depend, like, I think that we can say, be honest to the patron and be like, we don't have a policy. This is not something we've addressed. We've encountered before, would love to know more. And then we can assess and bring to the board.
Right. Yep. Well, I was trying to set a policy, but okay, we'll just say we don't have one.
And I think this email opens the door to that conversation. We don't have a formal policy. We're very honored by your interests. We want to work with you and figure out the appropriate response and how to do something that would best honor your father's legacy with the caveat that anything we want to get more information now, we'll take it back to the board and see what's available. But I think that's a perfectly fine response given the context of the email.
Yeah. And it says small memorial donation. The word small is there.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm, yeah.
Agree. Try it. Yeah. Right.
If the father's an artist, why not even put out that we'd love to like have one of his pieces in memorial? Like, I'm happy to talk to them. Okay. I know, it could be, I mean, if he's participated here, I don't know, I'll reach out. I'm happy
Okay.
to reach out.
Thank you.
I just think there's a lot of angles and we need to find out more. That's where I'm at.
It just, if you're thinking about plaques or paintings or whatever they are, just be aware that most of the library walls in here are covered in shelving. I really don't know where we put a donor wall or a donor painting or donor plaques. There's two right there, or one right there on the Schaffner wall. So picture that times, 150 people might want it. I mean, the library's pretty beloved. Everybody wants to leave their legacy.
So this can become a different conversation. I still think that I agree with Jenna. Like, we can still go back and be like, we've discussed it and we don't have a program to answer your question. And so we would love to think through what that looks like. So either give us some time, or B, like, what would you guys want, as patrons? Maybe we survey some patrons and figure out what would be realistic, but it would not have to necessarily be inside the library, is the first thing. And second of all, I mean, I know we started talking about bricks and things like that, but if we ever wanted to do a fundraising, I know we can't fundraise, but like, if there was ever something where we could get, buy a leaf, right? We did that kind of thing. Then there would be an impetus for doing so. And we could discuss, maybe you get a paver or something, your name on a paver outside or something like that. But that's it's the short answer is we don't have a program, and we're not planning on building a program right now, I think, still.
Yep.
The fundraising thing is a big thing. Now that I think about it, to even propose, because what would we say? Hey, if you donate $5,000, you can put a plaque on a tree.
Yeah.
That
No,
seems like fundraising.
It's not
doesn't
fundraising.
it?
It's our gift policy. We're not fundraising. We're stating what our policy is if you make a donation over a certain dollar amount. I wouldn't call it fundraising, but
Okay.
That's why I don't think we could do the brick. That's why I talked to the foundation, because that's fundraising to me.
Who else has ever gotten plaques other than Schaffner and like the,
We
or
have a few plaques. We have portraits of three different portraits of donors with their plaques under their names. We
how
have at
much did
least
those
one
people
tree.
donate?
Do we have 2 trees? Yeah, we have a bunch of trees. We have a bench.
How much did everybody donate?
It's mixed. There's no, there,
Okay.
because there was no policy. So it was
Right.
whoever made the decision to let it happen, which is why I was trying to set a policy, but it can be. It can
It
be
could also be what? Sorry.
discretionary, but
Oh, yeah.
which is what it is today. Yeah. I mean, okay.
I don't really love a dollar amount. I don't know what it, I think it feels like it's not authentic to the community that we're here to build. So I just, I wouldn't want someone to just come in and be like, I'm from New Canaan and I'm going to give you guys $1 million. So give me a plaque. Not that that's going to happen, but I would want it to be someone local. I'd want it to be someone,
God,
like,
I would not.
I know, but you see what I'm saying? Like, I think it's important that it's authentic to the community. So.
Okay. Thank you, Jenna. Governance, legal, anything, Lexi?
We had discussed last time looking into the ADA requirements around when the library is closed. I've done some research on that. I want to dig into the rules a little more and I'll report back at the next meeting.
Thank you. Oh yeah, sorry. It's gonna be a long conversation probably. Technology.
So now we've heard presentations from the groups, and it's definitely apples and oranges. The first 2 presentations had to do with transforming the entire room, and the one that we heard today is a very localized board meeting focused presentation about helping our board meetings and our Zoom. Some of the issues that were brought up in the past that he addressed for me, and I addressed at some visitations, is this idea of the overhead mic. And everybody informs me that that technology has totally evolved so that it's not really a question now of picking up stray noises. It's very, whether it's AI or not, it's somehow able to focus in on the conversations that are going on. It's a very mature technology now, so that would not be a problem. And I don't think, based on what I remember from prior discussions, I don't think we had an appetite right now for an entire room redo with new projectors and new screens. So I tend to favor Mike's approach of some kind. This is the first time that I heard that it could be a stepped approach where we could do the bar and the microphones and see how that worked out and keep the screen the way it is versus this rally board, which Selena points out, we would be cutting edge, which could be, it's not necessarily bad. And that's why I queried him on what his experience was with the company, with Logitech, because he had told me privately that he was very happy with the servicing that they provided. So that's what I would recommend to the group. We don't have to make a decision tonight. We would think about it, but my recommendation would be that we go with unsolicited and work with him on a stepped approach toward improving our board meetings, Zoom. I think the commitment right now would be probably somewhere in the, he didn't add up the numbers, but it sounded like with the rally board, without the board, it was going to be just similar to about $20,000, somewhere in that range. That's what I got. So, but I'm glad that everybody had questions and listened and something to think about.
Yeah, so I guess the question I'd ask other board members is, does anyone else have a view now? Is the concept we table it and talk about it again? Like at what point, how do we want to move forward with either decision-making or not?
And I apologize because I missed last meeting. So just sort of the evolution of the issue, right? What were we trying to solve for from the beginning versus this sounded like a solution for having these meetings once a month. So I don't know
I-
if we
I think the-
need that.
Yeah, I think the first, the other bids were solving the bigger issue in the room, which is whether it's a board meeting, whether it's a musical presentation, whether it's a lecture, that you solve for all of those at the same time with one, technology. And those were in the what, 60 to $75,000 range. I think unsolicited, I think us reached out to them and they talked and looked at the room and said, well, you know, I don't think they have any intention of solving the other issue. So their recommendation is, why worry about the other issue? Solve the meetings. You can still use mics for a presentation. You can still use the other technology for a lecture. You can put a mic in front of the piano player, on a stand, and there is no issue, kind of. I'm being a little, right, but I think he's saying your biggest issue is your meetings, and let's solve that for a fraction of the cost.
Okay, but that answers it though. We were doing this for the meetings, which his thing addresses.
Correct.
That's it? Okay.
Well, I don't think we were. I think Jennifer's original discussion is broader than meetings. Yeah, it's having that, right. Yeah. Now, I do think we solve with unsolicited, you solve being tethered to the room, to the board. So that is one thing that it does solve. Although I actually think you can solve that with doing nothing, personally. I think this new setup allows Jennifer to come and sit at the table with an extension cord to her laptop, and she doesn't need to be sitting over there. So to me, the ultimate question is, and maybe the answer is not today, but do you spend $20,000 to $75,000 today when we have a lot of other things going on so that I don't have to hold a microphone?
His point of view is the rally solution, unfortunately, I don't think is going to work for us because there's no place to store the item. Unfortunately, it'd be a nice. Well, I don't know where we would store the cart itself. Our storage closet across the way here is just packed full. We couldn't keep it in the kitchen. The only other option would be the office, and it'd be awkward to work around it all the time. So while it sounds like a great solution, I just don't see practically it working, unfortunately.
That was my only flag. Like, it's like, remember when like the geography teacher used to roll in the cart with like the thing in the man? Like, I feel like we're trading one cumbersome element of the mics for another that's even bigger, heavier, and more likely to potentially fall and break. That was my only caveat.
Yeah, because usually in a conference room, your table is set and they all have a credenza, which is where you put the rally bar stuff, right? It doesn't usually move. It stays in one place in most conference rooms.
I walked into a conference room or a meeting room in Scarsdale, and the director had a portable keyboard under her arm, and she walked in and she put it down and she did this, and Zoom was working, and it was just like all seamless and all behind, and the microphones looked like little garage door openers or something, and they were placed throughout, and you could move them all throughout the meeting. If people couldn't hear, I wouldn't maybe go close to that kind of thing. So I was looking for something that like invisible, if you will.
So what's interesting, and
way visible.
I didn't think of asking him this when you just said that, Jennifer. I mean, I have conferences at work where the mics are not attached to the table. They're little circles, and we just throw them in the room. They're in another room connected so that they're wireless, and we just throw them in front of us and use them. I vaguely remember us talking to one of the people about something like that. But that would at least, but whether it's hanging from the ceiling or you move it around, I'm not sure what the difference is. In this situation, it's the board and the bar that are large and have to be stored somewhere.
Yeah, I've also seen where you plug in a wireless like dongle thing, and then I assume there's another, other half of it stuck somewhere else, and then you can just So you'd be able to come over and join us for the meetings and do that. And it
That
just projects.
came up with some of the other vendors, and at least one of the vendors felt that the dongle was a technology that was constantly being broken, constantly on. One of the vendors recommended against the dongle approach, and I think what you're referring to was there was another vendor who recommended wireless microphones, and there would be like a charging bin over there that at the end of the day you just went over there. But that solves a microphone problem, but doesn't solve the, yeah.
So I'm not hearing over resounding, let's move forward at this moment. Is that an accurate description? Okay.
Should find out what Scarsdale's doing then.
Here's where the problem, because is there if a TV screen in the wall, and so if we had like something that could go in front of it, that that we'd want to hang art on it. There's just, I haven't found a solution that ticks all the boxes for everything. All of the research that we've done and all the vendors that we've spoken to, I wouldn't move forward with any of them. It doesn't solve all the problems. And if it's not going to solve all the problems with such a big price ticket, then it's not worth the value.
Yeah, and while the price of unsolicited is nice, it doesn't solve everything and adds other problems. So, guess we're holding microphones for a while.
Remember, remember you gave us the cost of what it would be if we added like one more microphone, and I think it was 10,000. That number stuck out of my head. So that's pretty incredible too. When you think one more microphone added to the current system is 10,000, and we could get two more microphones for 20,000, which is similar to the unsolicited proposed. Once a month.
These are all very reasonable comments. You'll take, I'll talk to Mike also and thank him. No, I appreciate the viewpoint of the board. I think it's very reasonable.
Yeah, no, thanks. I know you did a lot of work and appreciate the effort. And maybe in a year or so, the technology will change significantly and they'll come up with a solution that we'd want to spend the money on. Yeah, maybe Scarsdale's getting some good money. Public relations, Jenna. Thank you. Human resources, Ann.
Well, we were originally going to call an executive session, but we can't because we have two members who aren't here. We can't. You still want? Okay, so I'm calling a short executive session for the board. Jennifer, you don't have to stay for this. Okay, thank you.
Long-range planning, Mike, anything? Parking, I just got one.
Before you jump there, can I
Yeah.
just give a quick programming update?
Oh, sure. Sorry.
I was
You're not on the
skipped
list.
over.
Did I skip you?
someone
I
ceremonious,
apologize. I'm
no.
skipping all over the place.
No, nothing huge. Just to say that thank you to both of you for the new pre-walker music. I don't know what to call it. What's the I know that was all Jennifer, but I know that there are, very happy parents, one of whom happens to be on the foundation board and on the call right now. So, thank you to everybody for making that work. And I hope that, we're getting feedback and listening to it and adjusting as we see fit. So if there's anything you want to say about that, I'll leave you to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Parking lot, we just got one drawing. They're supposed to give us two. So I didn't want to send it in yet because we're still waiting, and the committee hasn't had, we literally just got it, so haven't had a chance to look at it. But it is similar to what we've talked about before, kind of adding spots down the current driveway. But again, we haven't even talked to them. So I'd like to hold off until we can have a conversation with the engineer. I might see if they're able to either Zoom in next month or come in and at least walk us through their two proposals. If they're able to, I think when we changed the meeting, I think that was one of the reasons that we lost, a week for May to get everything from them. Jennifer, director's report.
It's just the facilities report. First of all, the sump pump was replaced. You approved it in the, why is it not working? That's everything else. Okay. It's no big deal. It's just the prices for the, I'll just go into buildings and grounds for the grate dislodgement. You sent me back to get revised proposals for each of the vendors. Here they are. It's apples to apples comparison. I sent them the exact wording, so.
Yeah,
Question?
so if everyone remembers, this is, and if you look through the proposals, this is to replace the grate that broke, as well as pave around the grate, except I believe one didn't write paving in their response, so I wasn't sure if it was. I think it was, which one was it? Sam the Concrete Man, maybe? I forget. That didn't include, yeah, he didn't write anything about paving.
Gotcha.
So I would, not.
It was definitely in the email.
Yeah,
that
I
he
know it was.
sent,
Yeah, and
so,
everyone else,
yeah.
it was nice because everybody wrote pretty much exactly what you asked them for, which was nice. So I would knock out Sam because I'm not sure it includes paving. Hmm.
We actually did speak about that because I showed him the
Really?
other one that's on the other side, and I said I was trying to differentiate between like cold patch paving. This is not my area of expertise. Cold patch paving and hot paving. What is it? Hot paving, and what you're talking about is when they bring a $300,000 machine in here, like that they have on the highways. I know what you're talking about when you say hot. You know, it's not cold patch, whatever. So I quite
Oh, I
certain
know, and they actually wrote,
include.
most of them wrote it in their proposal, which I thought was phenomenal. He's the only one that didn't even talk
Mhm.
about the paving.
I can say confidently
That it was
does include
included?
that. Yes.
Okay. So we still have quotes from 4,400 to 9,800. I know we've worked with Lawrence Construction before. I've worked with J&B Paving before. The other three I do not know. So I don't know if anyone has a thought on. My proposal is go in the middle and go with J&B, but that's my advice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we usually get three, as you know.
Yeah.
But I called the first three. I
And
got
they
no
didn't
calls. I got
answer.
no calls. I got no calls. So I started calling other people, and then they all started calling back
Yeah.
at once.
So I'll make a motion that we go with J&B Paving. Yep.
I'll second JB.
They did my driveway, so.
Yeah, I've used them too.
Yeah,
They're local.
yeah, they are. Okay, everyone good?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I think like Sam, the concrete
is in.
man, is more of a tri-state area kind of a thing. So I'm not necessarily dedicated to Westchester. And the other ones I got referrals from referrals. Yeah, they sort of subcontract the work out and everything. So I don't really have any other than general vetting. I didn't find any egregious reviews online when I looked them up. But J&B, I think, is a known entity here in town. They've been around for a long time.
We can use trust money there if a bond is up or we have cash.
Yep, good idea.
So I'm sorry,
Yep.
did you call the vote?
We did. Anyone opposed? I think, yeah, John seconded it.
And
I made the motion, so I think we're good.
And then just reminder to do your trustee education.
The last thing that, any other new business? I have one thing, but I want to see if anyone else did. Jennifer, I was wondering I don't think you can answer this now, which is fine, but maybe for next meeting. We've been going now for, 6 months at not having a full-time person do grounds. And so wanted your views on how it's going. And then I think also for you to think about, one suggestion that someone has made is instead of doing the monthly contract with a single person like we had done historically, would we consider doing a hourly fee to someone who would come in once a week or twice a week, whatever we tell them to do, and walk the entire property and then give us a report of what they think needs to be done? And would that help you? You've got a lot on your plate. And so we were trying to come up with a way that maybe we don't spend 3,500 a month or 2,500 a month, but maybe we spend 500 a month or whatever it would be, to have someone help so that you don't actually have to go walk the property every single day or whatever. But again, wanted to know your thoughts on, how much time it takes and how's it going and if you could use help.
I'm fine with getting help. What I wasn't fine with was spending $1,200 a month. I didn't think we were getting the value. I would rather put that money towards the ebooks and audiobooks, which is what I've been doing. It's been wonderful. If we got someone that was reasonably priced and the value was there, then I'm open to that. It has been a lot of course, this is the year that I took over. We had like all these things go on. So yeah, whatever you guys decide, I'll support it. I'm hoping we keep it at a more reasonable.
Yeah, I
amount.
think what we were thinking of is like I said, an hourly, but also an agreement. Like we want you to come once a week for an hour, you know what I mean? And then we know how much it's going to be. And then that person, maybe we have a form they fill out that says this tree branch is down, this is whatever. I think we can debate the best way to do it. It could be twice a week, it could be whatever. Yes, Jenna? Oh, okay. We actually have a prior board member that's interested, so, and we approached the person, they didn't come to us, but Bonnie was our thought. This is something that's near and dear to her heart. She's always did it when she was on the board. She seems to like making sure that, the trees are, like she cares about the trees, she cares about the environment, she cares about the sprinklers. She knows the building, she knows the people. Now, if everyone felt we had to go get 3 people and figure, it's not a quote because we're going to set the price. So
I think that's a spectacular solution. Like you said, she knows the history and she knows the building and all this, but she actually comes in every Thursday to go to
that's
knitting.
what I'm saying.
So she's reporting to me anyway.
She-
and with the
she-
damn-
well, I'm sure she comes in and tells you what she sees when she goes to
exactly
the
right.
parking
That's
lot.
why
Yeah.
we got the deer fencing around the
Yeah.
the generator and that
So the
kind of thing.
question is, if we wanted to go this route, I think we'd at least have to make a decision on, is it once a week? Is it twice a week? Does anyone have a view? I don't know that we talked price with her.
I've talked to her about this and, we both did, and she's definitely open for it. And, I don't know if we really have to put it, she stops by a lot. She loves doing this. And we would just ask her to keep track of her time and she would bill us.
She would have to be, at times she'd have to be on call. I mean, you'd have to call her up and say, there's a problem, come look at it. So she'd have to be amenable to that as well.
That's a good point too. All right.
Yeah, I'd love to get a document together to see what exactly she would be responsible. And do I call her when I need a plumber, or is she more for only grounds? And that kind of, I just
True. That's true. Yeah. She would be she's more grounds.
But I think an hourly thing rather than a set monthly fee is a spectacular idea.
And we'd have to discuss an hourly rate. Okay.
I don't mean to overcomplicate this, but I just want to say that there are like these home concierge services, one of which Erin Trassel in town recently posted about a local one. So I'm just, not that we need other quotes or whatever, but if we want to get a sense of like what would be an appropriate price to ask Bonnie for, it could be helpful to just like, these are the types of people who on their website right now, do you need like to have us come up with a handyman to-do list? Literally, that's one of their services. So around the house or other things like that, it's kind of like a home manager, but other. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there.
And we do already have a form because we used it with a prior person. So if you want to at least have a conversation and see if you guys can, yeah, yeah. See if we can come up with an hourly rate. We'll bring it back to the board in June and make a decision if we want to move forward.
Yeah, just the list before that one that oh my gosh, I'm blanking out on his name. Our last facilities manager, whatever.
Ken,
Yeah, I'm trying to find out just how comprehensive she's going to be, like going out and getting bids for us and everything, like what
so
the
we should
gutters
just talk
and
about
all
what we
that.
want. Obviously, if
Yeah.
she's going to do that work, she's charging us hourly for that, right?
Right.
So, and if she's supposed to meet the vendors, then she's charging us hourly for that. So it could get back up to the same price if we do too much.
Right. Or if it's this comparable to what the concierge
Yeah.
is and they have a bigger,
Mhm.
network or whatever it might be. So yeah.
I
would
think it's-
it'd be expensive.
I think it'd be
but-
expensive.
But the auditors do love to see us get 3 quotes on everything. So
All right, so let's at least have a conversation with a little bit more information and see what might be doable. And Jennifer, I think we're more than happy to have you talk at least with Bonnie specifically about what you think you want, and she can at least estimate how much time she think that would take, and then we can at least decide whether we're willing to spend that money. Okay, any other new business?
It's not new. Well, we talked about it earlier. We still haven't made a decision on whether we're sponsoring the Boy Scouts, but we were inviting, go ahead. But before we go to that, did we ever make a decision last month when we talked about the cottage and they had that powder post beetle problem? We never really decided what we were going to do. Okay.
a Bell House requested that I look into these metal shields that get inserted into between the foundation and the building, whatever. And I did some research and I showed him, and he walked around the building and he said that actually it won't work either for us or for the cottage, to not pursue that any further. So we're back to these centrifuge, whatever they're, these centricon that go vertically into the ground. They're about this big, green. They disappear into the landscape, whatever, but it's not inexpensive.
But that system is for termites. and we
Exactly.
determined
It'd
that
be
they don't have
preventative.
termites yet. This is like the predecessor. So we haven't decided how to treat
No.
the
And as far as I can tell, from the minutes and everything, we've never had termites here.
yeah.
And the building's been here since 1850. So do we start treating for them now in case they come someday?
So have we heard anything more from our tenants though about it?
Not about that. No, I
Okay.
did add them to our rodent thing, whatever.
Okay. All right. So no decision then at the moment. All right.
Yeah, I would think we wait. I mean, I can't imagine spending the kind of money that is when we don't have any signs of termites and never have. But
The other thing, speaking that we didn't make any decisions, Roto-Rooter.
yeah,
Okay, so there's the blockage out there, and then they came last week, and the diagnosis from the Roto-Rooter guy was that our leaders, which is like the vertical gutters that come down from, are too narrow, that they should be changed from 3 inches to 4 inches, that the gutters on the roof should be changed from 4 inches to 6 inches, and that they need to be cleaned more regularly, and he thinks that all of the in-ground drainage plus the gutter and leader thing would resolve any problems of flooding. So,
We just went through this at my
oh,
house
did you?
extensively, I mean, last year, and we basically found that we didn't proceed with those adjustments, like literally to a T to what you described. And what we do now is we just clean the leaders and the gutters twice a year. And it's
So-
all fine. We haven't had a single, I'm not going to say it, but
Well, we also did
we might
a,
want to test just more frequent cleaning before making the investment.
we looked through, he did a inspection with the cameras on both sides of the sensory room, trying to figure out, where there was a blockage or leak or whatever, and nothing has turned up yet. So,
yeah. Look, we clean our gutters regularly too. This guy I know made a quote for $1,400 for gutter cleaning, and also said that he wouldn't recommend changing the gutters until he cleans them. So, which I appreciate. It's $1,400, which is within your dollar amount. Do we need to get 3 quotes then, or can we just have the gutters cleaned?
Bob said that he thought that the numbers were a little high,
Okay,
both
I don't
from the
remember what I
Roto-Rooter guy
paid.
and from the gutter. So I think he said to go out and get more gutter quotes.
Okay,
now.
you can find out who you used. I'll find out who we use. And
Yeah, George's seamless gutters we used.
I do Eric
we
Gutter
use.
service. Obviously, that was in there.
George's Seamless Gutters.
Yeah, I'll ask who we use to, Jennifer, and get you that information.
Maybe
Because
Bonnie will handle
Bonnie will go up there with the leaf blower, clean it herself.
that.
Okay. All right. So let's at least get some quotes for gutter cleaning. And my assumption is you're going to get a quote under the dollar amount, and therefore you should just go ahead and clean the gutters unless anybody has a
Yes,
different. view than that.
definitely. So as of the last time, you were interested in proceeding with Roto-Rooter, but I don't think there was enough people.
Well, I think it was, we were forming, I think Bob and we're supposed to look more into it. I don't know that we have enough to go on at this stage if they're saying there's no other blockages. You know, I don't know what your,
Right, so the one quote for 13,000 was the
Yeah.
blockage, and then he made another proposal, I believe
Yeah,
it's in
I
there, to run more around that edge of the building. Bob thought the quote was high and that we should look into other options. So I'll hold off on that until we decide about the facilities manager.
okay.
So
Oh, yeah.
as far as the leak goes down in the sensory room, we're just act of God randomness.
Again, I thought it was an anomaly. It was, the ground was frozen. We had a very cold winter. The ground froze. We got a huge downpour. It was just a once in a 10-year kind of a thing. We cleaned it up immediately. It's not like the house that's empty all winter kind of a thing, or it's a house up in Vermont and we only go once a month. We found out about it within 2 hours of it flooding. I really think it's something we
So,
could remediate as it happens.
I didn't think about this, but this is something we could do that's very cheap. So if you think about if the library's closed Sunday, Monday, let's say it happened Saturday at 7 p.m. and you don't find out till Tuesday, we have in our house in Lake Placid sensors, water sensors in every bathroom near the washing machine. So we get an alert if water is in our house. So that was like,
I think that's
$15.99 or something. I mean, it's like, it's an
Yeah.
app on your phone and it alerts you. And maybe that's at least the answer for now. So we all have some comfort that you would know if no one checked the basement. And at least we'll do that for now.
And we have the
Clean-
surveillance cameras, which I can see on my phone. So when
Yeah.
it does rain, I just check it from home, but
Yeah.
it's not,
Yeah, and our insurance company might even recommend
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look into that. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep. Okay. The last thing is Boy Scouts. I will follow up, but I did tell them the meeting date changed, but I never heard back from them. So it's possible they couldn't come on this date. They could come on the 20th, and we'll just keep moving forward with getting them to come explain what it means to sponsor the Boy Scouts. Okay. If there's nothing else, we'll adjourn. It's 8:39. We'll do a quick 2-minute break and then a quick executive session. Thank you.